We're ready to start the NEA candidate for Jefferson College Board Forum. And basically, we're going to allow each of the candidates 5 minutes to say whatever they wish to say. So I guess, Mr. Davidson, you're up first.
Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity to be here. It's really terrific to meet you all, and I look forward to getting to know you all better. My name is Dave Davis. Most of you probably don't know me. That's kind of a neat thing about this opportunity for me. I've lived in Jefferson County for 9 years. I live in Festus. I am married. I have 4 children, 2 whom I've put through college, and 2 who soon will be approaching college. So I obviously have an interest in education. I am a graduate of Webster University in 2002. I also have a degree in specialization in horticulture. I currently handle contractor sales for Home Depot and their business development for this district, including the Festus store and the stores up in the St. Louis area. I've had a passion for education most of my life. I'm very proud of the fact that I've worked my way through college, worked full-time, and raised my family. My career arc has had me starting at St. John's Mercy Medical Center, where they helped me get my education. I then went to Webster University, where I worked for 4 years in facilities as facilities coordinator. I feel that experience is an example of really being in tune with the higher education environment and some of the roles and committees that I played a part of there. Now, the district has 5 terrific candidates, and I believe I've got to hear most of them speak and see some of their comments, and their work is proven. Everybody brings unique experience and a desire to serve, and that's really why I'm here, is just a desire to serve the county that's really made me feel welcome and feel a part of the community after being here just a short time. But that said, I'm seeking your vote. So why vote for me? Well, there's a lot of unknowns, obviously, but I put myself through college, working full-time, raising 4 kids, as I told you, 2 of which I put through college. I have major project department and budget management experience in the private sector for a non-for-profit and with a local university, Webster University. I think that my presence on the board would give a presence for working class families who have the same kind of challenges that I had. But I do bring the experience of having worked in the workforce both for a college and for non-for-profits. So I think I can bridge some of those things and keep those things in mind, and I hope to be able to do that. The goal being, of course, keeping education affordable, accessible at Jefferson College and in Jefferson County. There are challenges, but challenges are really just opportunities. We need to continue to provide high quality and affordable higher education, despite I'm educating myself every day about the diminishing state appropriations and some of the challenges fiscally with keeping this college running at a high level and providing quality education. I think it's terrific that the work and training programs that the college has already put into place, and I think that's an opportunity for further development, and those are some things that I hope to be a part of, workforce retainment and skills development, and being a part of maybe those conversations and being part of that direction. I hope to be active in a way to engage elected officials on behalf of the college's interests. I do consider myself active and knowledgeable about many of the issues. In short, I think your investment in education is an investment in your community. I feel very strongly about that. And Jefferson College has played and continues to play a significant role in the economic development of Jefferson County, and I think they're going to continue to in the future. So my name is Dave Davis. I'm willing and able to serve and would consider it an honor and a privilege to serve Jefferson County on the Board of Trustees, and I hope you will all consider me on Tuesday, April 7th. Thank you.
Okay, now, does Mr. Fortenberry have anything to say?
Okay, well, just real quickly to let everyone know, Mr. Fortenberry couldn't be here tonight, and so he emailed me his responses to some of the questions that we're going to ask tonight. So I'll just read off his responses that he sent, and at the end of the night, if you want to take a look at what he emailed me, you can certainly feel free to do so there. Thanks.
And now, Ms. Stockard.
Okay, thank you. I certainly want to thank you all for inviting me here tonight to talk to you all. I am Barbara Stocker, and I'm running for the Jefferson College Board of Trustees. I am running for that because I seriously value education based largely on my own experience. I was able to attend West Virginia University, put through by my parents and my working part-time there, and got a quality education, got a bachelor's in chemistry. And from there, I went to the University of Maryland, where I worked in the Department of Biochemistry in medical research. And I enjoyed that so much, and wound up back in West Virginia and was working at the medical school there, and decided, well, I would just go for a degree in biochemistry, which I did. And my degree was funded by a grant from the National Science Foundation. And I'm so thankful that they invested in me, because it enabled me to have a career in medical research and in the commercial world at Monsanto. And I know I have paid back that investment many times, both in the higher taxes that I was able to pay for getting higher paying jobs, and in the work that I did for Monsanto and medical research and so forth. And they made a good investment in me, and I would like to see legislatures and communities and all kinds of foundations and grants invest in other students. I know there has been so much cutting in investment for student education, and it is so penny wise, pound foolish, because that investment pays off, and I would like to see the funding continued and to grow in all the ways. I would like to work with legislatures to get them to increase the funding, because cutting at this point is absolutely penny wise and pound foolish. We must invest in education. And I do feel that Jefferson County is poised for growth in the coming years. And we will need educated students to take those jobs. We will need researchers to come up with the ideas and the future businesses and so forth like that. We have, so it's important. And it's also important for personal gratification, taking part in cultural activities and community activities. I think there's nothing more important than an educated citizenry. More about me: I worked in medical research, first at University of Maryland, West Virginia University, came to St. Louis and worked at WashU, and later moved to the corporate world, first at Ralston Purina and at Monsanto, where I worked in safety and environmental health. And I retired from there and have had hobbies of nutrition, gardening, knitting, politics, a lot of things. I've just tried to stay very involved. I hope I can have the honor of serving on the Board of Trustees. I would hope you would vote for me on April 7th. Thank you very much.
And last but not least, Mr. Meinberg.
Thank you. I'm Steve Meinberg, and I'd like to have this job. I want to continue this job. I've always been interested in education because I understand education is the key for the success of a person in life and for their family, and not only that, but for the community. I've got one term under my belt and would like a second term. I've been in this community about 40 years and currently have a son that attends the community, the Jefferson College, and next year we'll probably have two children at Jefferson College here. I'm already up and running, past the learning curve, got one term under my belt, and I'd like to do the second term. I've got a track record, and I believe it to be a good one. I'm a graduate of this college. I've graduated with 2 degrees from here, and got the unique experience of being on a K through 12 board also, so I can see the transition between K through 12 and college and see what the needs are for both ways. So I have that insight between the two. One thing I always try to keep in mind, and sometimes the public doesn't have in mind, is the board gives direction, provides strategic goals, guides, gives direction, doesn't do the day-to-day planning or managing of the college. And through my term, I've tried to keep myself out of that. That's what we hire people for, and there's nothing worse than a board member that's into the day-to-day operations. And I said direction and guidance, and I think we've done a good job as a board, and me personally, in doing that as a board member, current board member. I do have my personal story of what I really want to do this. And I've mentioned I'm a graduate from here, and I would have never been a graduate from here if this college wasn't in Jefferson College. It's in our community. It was close proximity for me. It was affordable to me, and it provided the quality education. If that hadn't happened, I may not, or probably would not have had a degree. And because Jefferson College was here, I've attained that goal and went on to a 4-year degree, actually through Jefferson College again with the 2+2 program. Because it is community college, it's helped me have success in my life, which turned around for success in my family, and I've had a good life, all because of Jefferson College. And because of that, I'd like to continue serving Jefferson College so other people have the same opportunities that I had and that I appreciated. So, thank you.
Okay, now down to the nitty-gritty, the questions. What qualifies you to run for the college's Board of Trustees? Mr. Davis?
Well, I believe I'm qualified by virtue of my life experience and the jobs that I've held. I would be misrepresenting myself if I stood here before you and said that I knew all the nuances and details of being on the Board of Trustees for a college. I have worked at a university, and I have worked for non-for-profits. I've managed major million-dollar budgets, and I've helped set strategic goals for those budgets. I understand how to work collaboratively with people in a college environment and with a team of people, and I have a reputation for doing so successfully. So obviously, if you would vote for me, that you'd be voting for someone who would be really throwing themselves in and looking forward to the opportunity to serve you. But I believe that my life experience would apply itself very well to what my understanding of the board members' responsibilities are.
Mr. Fortenberry.
Okay. Mr. Fortenberry's response here to the question, what qualifies you to run for the college's Board of Trustees? Mr. Fortenberry said, I have served on multiple boards and understand board dynamics and the interaction of participants to better the goals of Jefferson College. Also, I have worked in sales and service with Fortune 500 companies and their corporate executives. I have made proposals and reviewed proposals and understand the financial implications of decision making. That's the end of Mr. Fortenberry's response to the question.
Ms. Stockert.
I believe my life experience and work experience qualifies me for a job on the board. I have been a mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom, a single mom, a working mom, and I'm a grandmother. So I do understand the needs of growing children and what they need. I have my work experience, I think, as a scientist, puts you in a little bit of a unique position to see things from a different point of view and perhaps improve on the point of view of others. And I've been around a while and I've learned a lot, and I think it qualifies me. Thank you.
And Mr. Meinberg.
Well, as just stated earlier, I'm currently on the Board of Trustees here, and currently the president of the Board of Trustees for the past 2 years. And so I certainly have an understanding of this particular institution, although I've served on many boards, including the Windsor School Board. So I'm familiar with the DESE and everything, been there for 8 years, but a lot of boards, and they operate the same way, but in particular, the College Board, I feel we've got a good track record, as I just mentioned, on a lot of decisions that our board has made over the past 6 years since I've been here. And we've accomplished a lot of things, we've progressed, we've moved forward, and it's all because of what the board does. I'm just one person on the board, but got a track record of being, I believe, being qualified to be on this board again.
Okay, next question. Oops. Okay. How do you plan to be visible and engaged on campus other than the monthly board meetings? Mr. Fortenberry.
Okay, thanks. All righty, here we go. Mr. Fortenberry's response is, I think board members should be available to listen and visit with students, teachers, and instructors and administration on an ongoing basis, and I will make myself available to fulfill this commitment. Thanks.
Ms. Stockert.
Those certainly sound like good ideas, and I think I would be available to. Don't spend too much time being involved, and do have some free time to talk with faculty members, students, and other board members.
Mr. Meinberg.
Actually, that's a very good point, and I have been very visible on this campus at nurses' pinnings, graduations, over at the gym facility all the time. Just had a basketball game with the Wizards, participated in that, and a lot of the sports banquets. So, and especially with my office being so close, I am on campus quite a bit and attend a lot of the different functions. So I believe in that, and I do that.
Okay. Mr. Davis.
Well, clearly, I think if you're a candidate for this position, that it's a given, an expectation that you would be accessible and available and be in regular attendance to those events where it would be appropriate for you to be there. So it would be fully my intention, and has been since the day I filled out the paperwork, that I'd be an active and visible member and accessible.
Okay. In your experiences, how would you improve employee morale? Ms. Stockert.
Employee morale and good relations among employees, good relations between the staff and the Board of Trustees and the administration. Are we having problems with employee morale? I haven't heard of any problems, but it needs to be kept good. Answer.
Morale, of course, is always an issue. It's important to have good morale because the people that you're concerned about with the delivery of your service to the students, happy staff brings good quality to the students that you have. So you always have to be conscious of it, but it's kind of a moving target when it's good and when it's bad, and which groups it is. But I think the key is a timely communication, a lot of communication, keep the rumors down, things like that, so before they start spreading about things. And maybe the bigger picture communication. Sometimes we're a little bit more direct in communicating with specific units or people, and the guy next to you gets a new piece of equipment, or the guy that didn't get a piece of new equipment, now he's got bad feelings because they took care of him, but if they see the bigger plan, the bigger picture, like this grant's funding this, 6 months from now yours is coming in, and if they knew if we could get out the bigger picture with a plan, the strategic plan, and know what's coming, I think it helps with morale instead of like, that guy got something and I didn't get anything, or whatever it is, you know, their unit or is favored or whatever. So a lot of communication, timely communication, and big picture communication of what's going on. But more than that, and the communication is two ways. It's not only telling them what's going on, but it's listening what the needs are. The people that are in the trenches, that are actually doing it, keeping up with the certifications, you know, in their business, they know what's going on. And the people that fund it, that help provide for them, needs to listen to that. So I think that helps a lot.
Mr. Davis.
Well, the question suggests that morale may be an issue. I don't have the experience of knowing that personally here, but I have been in organizations where there have been morale issues. And I have to agree with Mr. Meinberg when they say that communication is the key to promoting positive morale. Now, obviously, when morale is an issue, it varies, as it's a moving target, as Mr. Meinberg said. But identifying what the cause of poor morale may be and having a specific conversation with potential solutions, if they're at all available, obviously is going to be constructive. Having said that, being open, accessible, communicating the details to the best of your ability, and doing your best to conduct your business in a way that promotes harmony amongst staff and faculty and others. It's just a general way that I've always done business, and it's something that I would try to bring to the board in my presence.
Mr. Fortenberry's response to this question is leadership and openness are the modus operandi for a good relationship with employees and partners in the education process.
Should the public be given a chance for input when it comes to college land and buildings? This was referring particularly to sales and major changes, if I recall right. Mr. Meinberg.
I guess at JCNEA, no, that's kind of a broad question. When you're talking about property, when you're specifically talking about the property, of course, it's kind of a closed session deal, but when you want input, for instance, the Highway 30 side of this college, of this county, you know, we get input from the citizens. They want our presence over there, and I know as a board we plan on doing that. We have tried that several times. So there's an example of where the community wants us to respond to them. So specific land or specific buildings, when you get into dealings with that, you know, the price goes up when you start talking about that. So when people, so I guess it's a double-edged sword. In an area, one might want to tell you exactly what they want, what kind of services they want from you, but when you start narrowing it down and specific, you can't really do that because, like I said, the property owner is going to jack the price up on you, and that's why it's usually a closed session item. Maybe I don't understand the question. Maybe it's hard to have it behind me because I can't. Yeah, college land and buildings probably needs to be behind closed doors, but the areas, public input on, hey, we want this and we want it in our area, can the college provide that? Yeah, I agree with that. That's how we should be responsive. That's the taxpayers' money they put into this college, and we certainly should be receptive to what they need and building upon that. But specifically on what land to buy, no, you can't do it that way.
Mr. Davis.
I would agree that it's a broad question. I think by virtue of they being the taxpayers, I think you have to recognize that they have some degree of input. Now, the quality of that input and the depth of that input is probably the broadest part of this question. But I think generally speaking, being receptive to that input is a part of what I think this job should be. At least hearing it, understanding what their concerns may be. Now, whether they're part of the decision-making process, there's a process in place for that. There are people on board, hired and elected, to do that job, and it would be my hope that I'd be able to effectively communicate that to them and hope to build their trust in regard to my role that I would play amongst the other board members and addressing their concerns.
Okay, Mr. Fortenberry's response is, our support comes from the public, and input from the public is essential for good community relationship building.
Ms. Stocker.
Yes, the public should be involved in making their needs known because we do serve the public. And so it's very important that their needs and wants are known and where we should be and what we should be, where we should be helping the community. But I have to agree with Mr. Meinberg and the others about these specific buildings and land that we are elected to make those decisions, and we should be the ones to make it.
Is it appropriate for an administrator to be also a lobbyist? Mr. Davis.
An administrator as a paid employee of the college, is that the way I understand the question?
Yes.
Okay. Is it appropriate? Well, I think that generally speaking, most voters have a negative view of lobbyists just in general, but they do serve a purpose. Honestly, I'm not qualified to tell you whether they are or they are not, or they should or should not be able to do so. If you're talking about specific interests related to their job and influencing policy at the college, I would hope that they would move forward cautiously and responsibly. But on other issues that may not be directly related to the management and the curriculum and the processes of the college, well, I would hope that they would exercise their right to be participative members of government. It may seem evasive, and I apologize, but it's a pretty broad question, and I would say that I support people's right to be activists for the things that they believe in, as long as they are respective of the boundaries that, in accepting a responsibility as administrator, that they would clearly understand.
All right. Occasionally it may be necessary, but it should never be the principal objective. We need all administrators to have their eye on the ball, which is the education and success of our students.
Ms. Stocker.
The first thought that popped into my head was lobbying the legislature to keep the funding up, and I would say yes on that. For more inside issues, maybe not.
For an administrator to be a paid lobbyist, no, but I would hope the president of the college does lobby the legislature. I think that's part of his duties, to lobby for the college, not to be paid lobbyist for somebody else. But that's part of his duty, as Ms. Docker just said, about for funding for the college, the formulas and things. Yeah, I believe that's part of his job, to be lobbying the legislature for Jefferson College. Now, paid lobbyist, I mean, for something else, yeah, obviously not, but yeah, for the college, yes.
Should meetings be kept and released to, minutes be kept and released to the public for the team meetings of administrators? In other words, you've got a group of people who are making decisions for the college. Should the minutes be kept for that? Mr. Fortenberry.
Okay. All righty. Meeting minutes should be kept for all meetings of administrators and released only on a public request for those meetings.
Perhaps the gist of what goes on in the meetings should be released to the public, but not necessarily the actual minutes.
If there's a meeting, that should be minutes kept. I'm not sure what the team meetings are. But, of course, board meetings are open records in public anyway, except for closed records. Team meetings within the groups of colleges, I guess it depends what the conversation is, if it's going to be about real estate or closed session type thing. But if there's not a government entity, they're a team meeting within the government entity. So I really don't know how to. The minutes should be kept, but I don't know if they're required to be public or not. But I wouldn't have a problem with it. But being public shouldn't be anything discussed other than college business anyway. So.
Well, it'd be my assertion that any meeting being held in an official capacity, that there should be minutes taken. And they should be accessible. I don't know that they should be readily released freely, but upon request. I think that there's a certain amount of accountability, or at least a tracking of decision-making and accountability that is generally understood with keeping minutes for a meeting. And so I would say yes, that meetings should be kept and at least readily available for those folks whose responsibilities are such that they are accountable to others.
College received a good score on the latest state auditor's report. What do you believe the college should do to fix the issues in order to get an excellent score the next time? Let's see. Lost track, I think it's you. Ms. Stocker.
I don't know, I don't know what the auditor said on that, but if there are issues, they should be fixed. We do need an excellent score, but I don't know what the specific issues are on the latest audit, so.
Well, I was here when the state auditor came in, and there's 4 categories. There's excellent, good, fair, and poor that you can get. And the state auditor representatives told us that nobody, I think one person in his career ever got an excellent. Nobody gets an excellent. Not that we shouldn't try for it or strive for it. So we got a good. We did have some, what they described as minor cleanups, and we pretty much did them on the spot, most of them, the ones we agreed with. And so we got a good, and that's, like I said, try to get an excellent, but the auditor's office said that nobody gets it, so I don't know why they have it if you can't achieve it. But I wasn't totally pleased. I'm pleased that we got a good audit. That's very good for the college. And some of the things were minor. They've already been fixed, but I wasn't pleased that we even had them. I thought there were things that we probably should have gotten already, but we've got them now. So, but yeah, we'll shoot for that excellent next time.
Mr. Davis?
Well, I wasn't a part of that. So it's difficult to say. I have been a part of other audits, and I can tell you that just generally speaking, that anytime you're being evaluated and the score isn't as good as it could be or should be, that obviously that you want to focus on those things that need improvement or where you may be deficient, and try to come up with strategies to not have that be the case the next time. I have to compliment the board on the fact that the things that I've read and the things that I've seen, they have been very effective in focusing on solving the things that do come about. Now, whether there's something in place to anticipate those potential shortcomings, I'm not qualified to say. But obviously, it should be something that should be discussed and, if at all possible, pursued.
Okay, Mr. Fortenberry's response. The audit showed several issues of concern. Most were financial, and we need to tighten our financial oversight of the housing, tuition, and locking of the fuel tanks, and management oversight of these items to help improve our audits in the future. We need the college, board, and everyone with a vested interest to be continually striving for excellence.
Should administrators be given extra benefits that other employees do not receive? Mr. Meinberg.
believe that probably depends a lot on the status about being exempt employees and non-exempt employees, and what the work relationship is. I mean, if it's at what point, at what different levels of administration compared to instructors are in that, and if it calls for, like I said, between exempt employees and non-exempt, yeah.
Mr. Davis.
Folks, I'm a case-by-case guy. That's pretty much how I've handled most of the challenges that I've had in my career. I take people one at a time, and I take challenges one at a time. And on a question like this, clearly there are some things woven in there that I'm not privy to, but I can tell you that if there are inconsistencies, those are conversations that need to be had and addressed. But clearly the question begs to be answered, well, no, you wouldn't want special privileges afforded to some and not to others. But I think there probably is more to it than that. And I would just tell you that I would take it on a case-by-case basis and handle it appropriate.
Fortenberry.
Okay. First, administrators are employee of the college district. There should be no difference in benefits. In the past, some of these benefits were too loosely managed. I will work to improve this disparity.
Okay, I believe in equal pay for equal work and equal benefits for equal positions. And if people know clearly what the benefits are when they are hired and how to move up to get additional benefits, it should just be clearly marked out as to who gets what and why. Equal benefits for equal employees.
Okay, we've got the, how will the college continue the current investment in athletics when balanced against the need to provide expanded workforce training for the county residents? That's from the recent Higher Learning Commission statement. And so the question is, should the college continue to support athletic program given the extensive budget woes? Mr. Davis.
I played basketball in high school, and I played baseball in high school. I am a big advocate of team sports. I think that there are things that we learn in the classroom, and I think that there are things that we learn as a part of a team and in competition. And it's the holistic education of the person. I think it has value. Speaking to the budget and one over the other, well, that's a difficult decision without me, that's a difficult answer without me seeing the numbers and what may be motivating some of the deficiencies. I have to tell you that I would be an advocate for doing all that we could to maintain athletics at the college. However, balancing that with good fiscal decision making and not favoring one over the other.
Mr. Fortenberry's response: we need to look at all expenses and find ways to manage accordingly. If cuts are to be made, I support across the board minor cuts to share cost-cutting responsibility with all departments.
I not only believe in athletic programs, I believe in other cultural programs such as musical orchestras and bands and choral groups and drama and the whole kit of it. I think it is all important, and if the funding should be really looked for before cuts are considered.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago at one of the meetings I had mentioned, we talked about the programs, athletic programs, and about doing them right or not doing them at all. But the question talks about extensive budget woes. I don't know where the question came from, but we don't have extensive budget woes. And in the college, the athletic department, go back to scholarships, there's a lot of kids that this is their way through college. This is their way to higher education. And other things like band and other cultural things that Mrs. Stocker mentioned. And they don't get an education without doing it this way, so to speak. And I think it would hurt a lot of people if we were to eliminate things just to get rid of programs, whole programs, you know, measured approach, like looking at all the departments and things that they could be better than just wiping out whole programs. And but the extensive, we're not at that point. We're not at that point right now.
Do you support tenure for faculty? Mr. Fortenberry.
Okay, all righty. Mr. Fortenberry's response, the tenure question is a gotcha question. I know of no industry or business that guarantees you a job. I ask the audience, do you have a job at your tenure? Or I'm sorry, I ask the audience, do you have tenure at your job? My apologies. I think if you provide quality teaching and are a responsible teacher / instructor, why would you need tenure? You should be able to go anywhere and get a job. There are no guarantees in life or in the job market. Do good work and you will always have a job, as there are never enough quality teachers / instructors.
I do support tenure. I don't think professors and teachers and staff should have that axe hanging over their heads. I think they should, after they have earned it, continue have the continued support of the college.
I likewise support tenure. A lot of people don't know the meaning of that word really, and sometimes they think it means retirement or protecting bad teachers, but really tenure to me is just due process. It protects the teachers, you know, from a bad administration or a new administration change or whatever. And it's due process. Everybody's pretty much got due process, and the teacher should have it too. So I believe in tenure.
David?
I also support tenure. In my time at Webster University, not only as a student but as an employee, some of the most valuable and most integral people at the university were tenured professors.
Okay, finally, well, actually not finally, but why should the JCNEA endorse you? And I believe it's Ms. Stocker.
I believe I am qualified, as I have explained, and would be dedicated to doing a good job.
I also believe I'm qualified and would like their support. As a board member already, I have the experience, but all my decisions I've made as a board member have always been with all the facts that I could have, and I've made it with the college and the students' results in mind. I've never made a decision out of vindictiveness, emotionally, because I was mad at a certain group or mad at somebody. Never, I will never make a decision based on that. Be just strictly on the facts and what's best for the college and best for the students.
Well, obviously, we all think we're qualified. I too think I'm qualified by virtue of my experience, not only in life, but in the many jobs that I've held. They've been various, and I think those different things that I've done do lend themselves to this opportunity and bring a unique perspective. But I also have a reputation for being collaborative, working well with people, being open-minded, and having a positive approach, focusing on solving the problem and finding a solution.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Fortenberry's response: I have received my associate degree at the community college, and after receiving my bachelor's degree, I taught at the community college level for 10 years. I have the business and board knowledge to provide the best board and business leadership for the college. And as a last note, Mr. Fortenberry states, I ask you to vote for Avery Fortenberry as a member of the Jefferson College Board of Trustees.
Now, we have one final question, came in late. How do you feel about administrators having a multi-year rolling contracts that are always projected 2 to 3 years into the future? Does everybody understand that one? Okay. Then, Mr. Meinberg.
My experience with boards of education, like I said, I'm with the Windsor Board and now the College Board, has taught me through the administrators that if you don't give a multi-year contract, you can't attract anybody. There's no stability for those people to move here and become part of your team. Now, I know as a board we've talked about, and I've actually brought it up several times, about not extending them too far. I don't like 5 years, 4 years. I don't even like 3 years. At 2 years, and I understand the point that's made, you attract better people when they have some security or assuredness that they're going to be here at least 2 years, 3 years they would prefer. Otherwise, why move here? Why come here? So you start making your pool smaller, the less time you put on that contract. So I know here we have 2 years, the president we have 3 years, and this board that's still here is, when President Comiskey was hired here, that was part of the agreement, was 3 years at the time to get him to move here, but the next president will be 2 years. If the board feels the same, it's the same boards here anyway, that's how we kind of feel now, or that's how I feel. I will push for 2 years, but it's a give and take. Nobody, at that level is going to come for 1 year unless you guarantee them a little bit more. But 5 years, 4 years, no way.
Well, what is the market demanding? You want the best candidates for your college. What is it going to take to get the right person? I know that in my job experience, security is an essential part of any job I took. I've never worked on a contract basis, but I would think that getting the right candidate and being able to offer them a certain degree of security is just a given. Having said that, it is a contract. I haven't seen the contract for employment here, but I would assume that there are codicils or clauses built in for provisions for those instances where it may not be going the way it should. So I believe that there should be a contract. I also agree with Mr. Meinberg that you only want to extend them so far. I would be comfortable with 2 to 3 years in my limited understanding. But again, once I see the contract and understand the full amount of the terms and the 4 corners of the document, I'd be better able to answer that question.
Mr. Fortenberry obviously doesn't have any response since he didn't get this question. Ms. Stocker.
Okay, certainly when you're looking at someone to hire, you have a full understanding of their qualifications and recommendations from places where he's worked before, or she. And so you should have that understanding and should be confident in being able to give a 2 or 3 year contract in order to attract and maintain and keep the best qualified candidates. I think it's important to, and if you're extremely confident, perhaps you could go farther than 3 years, maybe 4.
Okay, at this point, we can call for any questions from the audience. Does anybody have any questions? Yes? No? You're scratching.
I did. I wanted to ask each of the candidates, you can respond in kind or just in general. Running for these volunteer positions, and you've already served on the board, it's a big investment of your personal time, and I know you see yourselves as a member of the community. But what else just personally drives you to seek a position or continuation in this position is just what about your personality or your personal knowledge or interest of the college that gives you the ambition and desire to be a board member or board of trustees member here at Jefferson College? I'll leave it to the moderator to decide who.
Sure. Honestly, folks, this question is kind of an easy one for me. My major was political science, history, public relations. I have had a passion for public service and I currently serve on the Festus Planning and Zoning Board and have been active in many campaigns and issues. I worked for the volunteer basis for the ACLU. I have committed my time to a lot of things that are under the radar and are not elected positions. I contributed, I pitched in, I did my share. You know, I've talked about this many times now, about how grateful I am about the response and how welcomed I've been made to feel in this county since moving here. And I truly do believe in service and sincerity of intent and just wanting to contribute to what's going on. I have always been that person, and I will probably always continue to be that person. I have a passion for education. I'm usually reading 2 to 4 books simultaneously. So I am very passionate about learning, and I hope to bring some of that passion and enthusiasm to the role on the Board of Trustees.
Ms. Stocker? Obviously, Mr. Fortenberry.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I've managed to put together a good life, and I'm very grateful, but I didn't do it alone. I had input from the community and my own education, and it's really, I need to pay back, and I do feel a need for further involvement. And my mother was on the board of Parkersburg, West Virginia Community College, and so I would be carrying on a family tradition too.
Reinberg.
Again, what drives me, not only on the 2 school boards I've mentioned, but on the Rotary Executive Director and Salvation Army Board, District Chairman for Boy Scouts. I'd serve on a lot of community things, and that's what kind of drives me. The community is only as good as the people that volunteer and put back into it. You know, a lot of these things aren't paid positions that would never get done if it wasn't for volunteers that do this. And I want a good community from my family. And so it drives me to do this. And I told you my story before with the college. It was affordable, it was quality education. All my credit hours transferred to the 4-year, and the location of it. And I've had a good life because of it. And I want to make sure that the other people have an affordable college with a quality education so that they can have a good life. And so that's what drives me with this college board, to make sure people have the same opportunity and the same education that I got.
Okay, at this moment, I'd like to thank the candidates on behalf of the JCNEA for being in the hot seat, so to speak, especially with some of these questions. And thank you all for coming.